Unicorn Warriors Eternal was such a bizarre yet interesting show. I never know what to expect from Genndy Tartakovsky, but it was such an experience that I want you guys to relive that again. So here is my full review of Unicorn Warriors Eternal so far. I had no idea what to expect from this show, and watching the first episode, 10 minutes in, I still had no idea what this show was about. They showed these warriors, they showed this robot, they showed Merlin. Merlin's like, you guys will be fighting evil for eternity. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then they started to explain it a bit. No matter what's going on in the world, when there's evil afoot, Copernicus the robot will find 4 individuals and give them the soul of these warriors. Now, I have no idea how these individuals are chosen. I'm not sure at all, but we finally get glimpses of the morality towards this within the first episode once we start seeing the life of Emma. Emma's this young Brit laddie about to get married, have the wonderful time of her life, and during the wedding ceremony, Copernicus shows up and ruins her entire day. We spent like a solid 5 minutes preparing us for this, and for the most part, when we saw everybody else change, they all changed and just had the identity of the previous warrior. And the same thing can be said that happened later on in the second episode, but Emma, our main character, she doesn't know who Melinda is. She barely knows who her parents are. She's trying hard to like retain her former self, but also kind of retain her also former warrior self. It's weird, and I like it. Hesitantly, she decides to follow Copernicus and awaken the rest of the warriors so she can maybe figure out what's going on with her. And the more she figured out what's going on, the more she's like, I don't know if I belong here. Do I belong here? Am I powerful? I genuinely don't know. What evil is afoot? Where's the evil? And once she said where's the evil, this giant elephant came up. And you know what? It's fine. It's cool. I'm not sure what evil is afoot, but clearly there's something happening because this lady keeps popping up. She's tried to stop the awakening from happening, but it still did. I just don't know the story behind this evil, and I guess we'll find out later on as these episodes continue. But why is this happening? In the previous iterations, they were just fighting this weird spirit dragon, and now this is like a whole ass lady, maybe a whole ass like family they're fighting. And I want to know more. I think that's one thing that I can say about this show so far, is that it has got me curious. Not necessarily hooked, but it's definitely gotten me curious. It's gotten me intrigued in the show. And it gets me even more intrigued at the end of the second episode, because they were about to defeat the elephant. Emma, she's like, I don't know what's going on. Everybody stay away from me. Winston shows up, the person she was gonna marry as Emma before this all happened. And she's like, dude, get away from me. Everybody get away from me. She defeats the elephant. People try to go comfort her, and she just runs away. And I hope we continue to follow Emma throughout this and not everybody else. Although I do like, I forgot his actual name. I think his warrior's name is Song. I like that guy. He's very cosmic-y, and the aloofness of the kid being that warrior is great to me. But we need to continue following Emma, because that is our person in this show. She's like, what's going on? We're like, what's going on? She's the character the audience is supposed to relate to, and I need more relating to. I want to see what she will do. What is she gonna go down like an evil route? Because I can see her being convinced by the evil people to join them, but also she could just end up being Melinda. I don't know. She might even just be her own person. Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen, and I like that about a TV show. You have me asking questions. So I've now seen episode 3 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and I'm still interested in this show, honestly. When I first watched the trailer and turned on episode 1, I didn't think I was going to be as interested in this show as I am, but the character writing in the show was really interesting to me. Like, these warriors, or at least Emma, isn't like the person none of these people are the people they're supposed to be, except for maybe Idrid. I'm not sure about him, but it was confirmed in this episode that these aren't the right people that were supposed to be chosen. The people that were chosen are part of this cult called the Awakening. I'm saying cult because it's kind of a cult, and they were saying that their ancestors and their ancestors and stuff were a part of some of the first people chosen as hosts. So they were born for this. They've been waiting for this their whole life, and they weren't chosen. They even molded their bodies and stuff to seem like the original people. Like that is just a spitting image of Song and Melinda. But enough of that. Let's talk about the most interesting character in here, and that's Emma. I was going back and forth between this while watching this episode. At first, it seemed like maybe it was Melinda, but she was haunted by Emma's memories, and that kind of altered her way of thinking. But no, this is definitely Emma refusing to give in to Melinda. Her will is just that strong for some reason. Also, why does she keep a fake wig in her room? Her hair was already blonde. Why does she have a fake wig in there? It seems like Emma's really struggling because not only is Melinda invading her body, but like she doesn't remember a lot of stuff. She barely remembers Winston. These memories keep flooding to her, but she doesn't know why. She vaguely remembers stuff, which is odd. So that makes her act different. That makes her parents believe that this is our Emma's body, but this isn't Emma. Our Emma wouldn't just overtly disobey us like this, so this has to be somebody else. But it's not somebody else, it's their daughter Emma. She just, I don't know, she has memory fog because Melinda's really trying to take control, but it's just not working. And this comes to like a big brouhaha when she goes to this psychic mind reader, spirit reader, whatever you call it. I completely forgot what it's called. And he's doing all of his tricks to quote unquote make her talk to the spirit that's possessing her. But he didn't think it was going to actually happen, but it did. And we got to see bridal Emma versus Melinda. And I really like the dichotomy of them. One like dressed in all black, looking evil and stuff, and one infused with innocence and all white. Even though they're both supposed to be good guys, Emma's seeming like a stubborn child while Melinda's seeming like this evil villain also, but they're both good, I think, right? It's weird, but I love it. I can't say anything more than that about this episode. It just makes me really intrigued where they're going to take Emma's character specifically. Is she going to give in to Melinda? Is she not? At the end, after the battle, because there was a battle that happened, I didn't think it was that important. I was going to skip it, but then I remember this specific thing happened where she refused to fight. She just didn't want to help anybody out. But then Melinda took over and she said, I hate you. I am so interested in this character and where it's gonna go. I am genuinely so interested in it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't. That makes me so intrigued. I have thoughts on where I would like it to go, but I don't know. We'll talk about it later once it starts progressing further, because I don't know how many episodes this is gonna be. In a good world, probably 10. I think that's a good stopping point for season 1. I don't think it should be finished by the time season 1 is over, but who knows? Who knows now? So I just watched season 1, episode 4 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and oh my gosh, drama! So the gist of this episode is they're chasing this mystical evil fox, and he takes them to this ship, and the ship is cursed. They can't escape. And Winston's there. Having Emma, Melinda, Winston, and Edred all just following each other is something that I did not think of to do. This is nuts. We have a little love triangle quadruple thing going on here. A love square. That's a good one. And Emma's personality is starting to confuse me a lot, because she's not being referred to as Emma anymore. She's being referred to as Melinda, because she even claims that she's not Emma. She said it in this video. But also, she just is Emma because if she was Melinda, she wouldn't be acting this way. So why does she not refer to herself as Emma? Why does she refer to herself as Melinda? Should she get a third name of the two? Because she doesn't act like either of them at this point. Should her name be Memma? But of all seriousness, this whole situation is around because of the Emma and Melinda, because she was chasing this fox, causing all this havoc in the city, and she bursts through all this stuff, and then she turns around and it's like, oh my god, wait, I'm destroying all of these things and there's innocent people in here. This lady and her child is crying and she doesn't want me to come near them because I'm a dangerous person. I'm a witch, you know? So she's having this saying like, oh, I don't want to use my powers anymore. Like, I don't want to cause any harm to anybody. But that doesn't make sense because they're on an abandoned ship. But, you know, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. At least they're acknowledging this issue early on, unlike a lot of superhero stuff who don't acknowledge the issue at all. Or even Digimon Tri, who acknowledged the issue a little too much. People who've watched Digimon Try know this. Tai kind of sucked in that series. So at least they're acknowledging the issue and we can move past it after this episode, because she does start using her powers at the end, and who knows what's that doing to her. Is Melinda taking over a little bit more? We saw the little burning in her eyes, which would make me think that Melinda was taking over a bit more, but also maybe not. I don't know. Winston's also here, and she still, assumingly, it does look like she still likes Winston a lot, and she does not care for Edred, and Edred hates this. He fucking hates this. He's trying his hardest to get back with Melinda, and it's just not working, and I didn't think I was gonna get some romance plots within here. I'm just loving it now. I'm into it. I'm all about this. This is making me want Beastar Season 3. I really want Beastar Season 3. There was also this funny side plot of Song losing his abilities and fading away, because of course that would happen. He's lost his connection to the Cosmic Place, but that quickly gets resolved by the end once Emma finally destroys the thing and summons a Kraken. She summons a Kraken, everybody. So after they destroy the field surrounding this cursed ship, they go chasing after the Kraken because this Kraken's going and wreaking havoc. They can't have that happening. And they left Winston behind. The interesting part about this is Edred stayed behind and said, "She's not your love anymore." You know what he wanted to say after that. If only he did, that would have made this crazy if he went, "She's mine." You know he wanted to say that, but he can't because she doesn't love him back. And that's why I love character work, because everybody has their own goals they're trying to accomplish while also having a full group goal to accomplish. It's great. It's great. I love it, and I want more of this. I'm gonna watch episode 5 now. So I just saw season 1, episode 5 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal. And this episode was an interesting one. In the last episode, I kind of painted Melinda as potentially being the bad guy, or at least being this antagonistic role for Emma. But in this episode, we got to see some of Melinda's backstory and start to feel a little bit of sympathy for her. So how they get to the backstory is they had to deal with the Kraken. By the way, I do love how they're doing these episodes where the ending of the last episode is tying into the beginning of the next episode, but it's not the whole focus of the plot, sort of. But anyways, they're fighting the Kraken, and this Kraken mollywops them. So much so that it sends Emma flying through some buildings, and when she wakes back up, she's on an island, and she's not just on an island, she's on an island with some random kid. And when this kid says their name, it's Melinda. What the heck? And Melinda, even though the kid's still coated in black, which makes her still seem antagonistic, she's being painted as an innocent child now. And she's trying to help Emma return back to where she's from, because at this point everybody thinks she's been sent back to the past. So they go into her father Merlin's office to use some weird crystal, and this crystal unleashes this robot. Merlin stops it, says, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Finds out this thing's from the future, and then he says, "Actually, she's not from the future. She's still in the future. She's just viewing this somehow, some way. Who knows?" And then Melinda's mom shows up. Melinda's mom freaks out when she finds out Melinda has these powers, and she's just trying to take these powers away from her, but Melinda doesn't want them away from her. She refuses to let them be away from her. And at the end of all of this, when she stops her mom, it turns out that her mom is the shape of the evil dragon they've been fighting this whole time, which I guess means that Melinda and Merlin are connected to this evil somehow. Their mother is the evil. I'm assuming their mother's the evil at this point. That's a wild twist to me. Like, my question currently now, I guess, is that, is the mom the evil, or is she a part of some sort of evil organization, or are they evil to begin with? Why does she not want Melinda to have these powers? She made it seem like these powers were evil. So is Melinda evil? Are the powers that possess inside of Melinda evil? Or I love thinking, and this is making me think a lot, and maybe I'm overthinking, but that's the fun of these episode reviews and watching a show week to week. You get to overthink on these episodes and just come up with wild theories. And now when Melinda wakes back up into the present day, she's kind of pissed at Emma because Emma viewed some of her memories. And it just has me thinking that eventually they're gonna have this Yami Yugi and Yugi type of relationship where they could just release the other, or like they take turns being in control of the body. I don't know, it's gonna be weird. I hope they kind of have a relationship like that, and not one like Sukuna and whoever that other character's name is from Jujutsu Kaisen, because I don't watch Jujutsu Kaisen, or at least I haven't watched it yet. Also, Winston's in this episode. I forgot to mention this at the end of the previous episode review, but when Idrit told Winston that she's not yours anymore and left, Winston got a little bit mad at the end, and my mind started thinking, I'm like, this is the guy that made Primal. I can see Winston coming back and being a bad guy, being the antagonist they had to fight. I could see the evil trying to possess him. But anyways, Winston's trying to find a way to survive. He's paddling, he's trying to paddle somewhere. He ends up at this boat, and this man's up here. He says go away, throws stuff at Winston goes away, and he's like, why the fuck did I go away? That lad, I should fucking go back and teach him a thing or two about, you know, what it is to be a gentleman. I'm so sorry about this accent. So he goes back, and it turns out this dude told him to go away because he's a freaking werewolf, and he bites Winston, and now our mind can only think that Winston's gonna be a werewolf and go on a rampage towards Idrit or something. I don't know, because normally in shows, in books and stuff, when a werewolf bites you, you become a werewolf, or a claw, or whatever. When a werewolf attacks, you become one. So one can only assume that this is going to happen to Winston, and he's going to, assumingly, attack Idrit. I'm not sure about the whole crew, but most definitely Idrit. So I've now seen season 1 episode 6 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and I dare say this is the most standard episode of the bunch so far. Like, there was no crazy like character development or anything within here, but it had a clear goal that it wanted to portray, which is to fix Copernicus, and that's the goal that they decided to do within this episode. There's not much to say about the story. They tried to fix Copernicus on their own, and it didn't work. Song had the great idea of going to the future to figuring out how to fix Copernicus, but that was ongoing and kind of loopholey until he finally figured out what was going on. And Melinda and Idrit tried to go to Otto's place to help fix Copernicus, because Otto is the man who built all those robots that attacked Copernicus on the first episode. Otto also ratted out the Fox Lady. I feel like I haven't talked about this Fox Lady because I was for certain that the lady in the shadows wasn't the fox, but apparently it is, and it was. This fox for the last 6 episodes, especially for the first 3, was being billed as the big evil. They keep fighting this evil throughout all the time, who has these greenish, bluish flames, and this fox was the one that had the powers in here during this one. She's the reason why the souls didn't go in the correct bodies. She's the reason why Copernicus is now smashed. And she's now on the run from the cops, I guess, because Otto ratted her out for some reason. There's so much mystery within here that we need to figure out. Even when it comes to our main characters like Idrit, he knows how to fix Copernicus, but he doesn't want to tell us. Why doesn't he want to tell us? Like, what's going on here? So now we're about to go on a journey to Idrit's homeland so we can see how to fix Copernicus. And Song kept saying this weird thing, like the blood will flow or something like that. He said it 3 times. It kind of sounded like a chant at the end, but you know, hey, I'm not gonna repeat that chant. No, not me. So whatever it is, I expect it to last at least 2 or 3 episodes, and maybe it'll wedge a gap between Idrit and Melinda. I don't know why Idrit was so gung-ho about not telling Melinda. It has to be something big, like maybe someone's gonna die, maybe Idrit would die for it, maybe Melinda would have to sacrifice herself for it. I'm not sure. Maybe all of their souls would have to go back into Copernicus for this to happen. I don't know why. You know, I really don't. Maybe Idrit was exiled from his homelands, and him coming back would make it be kind of awkward. I don't know. At this point, anything's possible to happen to these characters, except for Melinda. For Melinda, I really want her and Emma to get along. She keeps hiding from Emma because Emma just wants to help her now after seeing her passing. Apparently, she killed her mom in that scene, which I didn't know. Is that what happened? I didn't know that what happened, but apparently that's what happened, I guess. I mean, I guess if her mom was the evil during that time period and they eventually defeated that evil, that would make sense that she eventually had to kill her mom. But why is Melinda running from this? Why is Melinda hiding from this fact? Who knows? Will Emma eventually help her out? Yes, she will. And I can't wait for them to start working together and become the almighty powerful Mema. I just want that to happen. I really do. I think it'd be really sick and really cool for that to happen. But anyways, what are your opinions on season 1, episode 6 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal? I'd really like to know. Leave them in the comments down below. Otto actually left a really good point within here as well. He said Copernicus looked like something he'd made but just haven't invented yet. So does that mean Merlin went to the future to get Otto to make him? Or like, what? I just want to know so many things. This story has so many questions that are probably going to be left unanswered eventually, and that'll be fine as long as some things are answered and the main story is finished. That's the main thing you gotta look forward to, is the main story being finished. This is so wide of a world, genuinely. The world is so wide, and I can't wait to see how this ends. I want this to go on for like 4 seasons. That'd be so sick to me. And each season following a different generation of warriors. I'd really like that. So I've now seen season 1, episode 7 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal. And again, I feel like this was another by the books episode. This is the second part to the Fixing Copernicus saga. They have now entered Idrit's homeland to get the heart to fix Copernicus with. Oh, but it turns out he was an heir to the throne who left beforehand. And you know what that reminds me of? Teen Titans. Now, this story has been told throughout a lot of media, but Teen Titans is the first thing that I thought of, and I thought it was a pretty good comparison to make. Because in Teen Titans, when they went to Starfire's homeland, it turned out she was betrothed. She was supposed to be married to somebody and become like the new princess or queen or whatever, but she left. The same thing can be said for Idrit. He was betrothed, but he's like, no, I got a real love, and she's a bad bitch. So he hauled ass. But now returning to his homeland, he sees their worlds arrayed. They're at war with each other. The Northerners versus the Easterners. I don't know why they didn't just say the Southerners, because North and East is just a weird split. You know, you're splitting it diagonally. It's kind of weird. And his brother is a member of the Northerners. They were captured at first as prisoners, and then when they went into the prisons, OMG, Merlin's in there for some reason. He said it's been captured in there since they first took out the evil. And Merlin did also shed some light on some things that I was a bit confused about when it pertained to Melinda's mother. So that scene that I keep playing when I refer to Melinda's mom, that was her trying to take Melinda's power away from her, and in doing so, the power consumed her. It made her become the evil that they keep fighting, I think. I think that's what they're trying to tell us now. Now my only question is, how does the power keep returning? Does someone else keep getting consumed? Does she also have this eternal thing and that keeps getting into a new host every time? How does this evil continue to return throughout all of time? I'd really like to know. Maybe they actually said it in the first episode and I just missed it. But there was a great character moment right after this where Emma was talking to Melinda, and she keeps trying to tell her, hey, we gotta talk about this. You gotta talk about this with Merlin. And Melinda's like, no, I can't. No. And she finally does. And Emma also talks to Merlin, and this is just a great bit of character development for everybody. I love character writing. Merlin low-key blamed Melinda for not being able to control her powers as a child, but Emma's like, you're a great wizard, Merlin. How come you couldn't do it? He said, I can't do that. It's a power that I can't control. I can't do it. And she was like, you're the greatest wizard of all time. If you can't control it, how can a small child control it? And he's like, dog, I never thought about that before. And he's just like, dog, I'm sorry, Melinda. I should have thought better, you know? And that's all it took for him to open his eyes and realize, like, dog, why didn't I think about this sooner? Melinda's my daughter. I should be teaching her this stuff. I should have tried to help her control her powers rather than just hide them away and let her figure it out on her own. The rest of the episode is pretty by the books. Idrit and Owl Wolf went to retrieve the heart, and in doing so, they ended up fighting some skeletons and this necromancer, and Merlin and everybody else end up teleporting over there once they escape the prison, and they successfully retrieved the heart. It looks like Idrit is now staying there in this world. They even took the soul out of the old body and put it back into his original body. But it turns out they put Elwolf's body in there. Oh, they fate Elwolf's death. They say he sacrificed himself for the hearts, but in reality, they put his soul into Idrit's original body, so he can now become the ruler of his world. That's sick. That's really sick. I hope he doesn't hold a grudge against Idrit after all of this, because Jesus Christ, he doesn't need to hold a grudge against Idrit. But yeah, I think that's pretty sick. I was trying to figure out how they were going to get around it because I wasn't really sure. I thought Idrit was just going to be leaving them. I genuinely thought that. And I thought it would have been interesting to have this person with us for 7 whole episodes and just to take him away. And now they're down to Melinda and Song. And that's about it, because Copernicus can't do anything and Merlin's not staying with them. It would have been for a weird dynamic, but I would have been totally down with that. So I have not seen Unicorn Warriors Eternal episode 8, and let me tell you, things are about to start getting crazy. But not in this episode. In this episode, it's another setup one where we're being introduced to the evil, where everything's still being set up. So it takes place immediately after the last episode. Everybody's waiting to see what's Merlin gonna say. When is Merlin coming back? What evil is still left for us to defeat? They thought the evil was destroyed. They thought the only thing that was keeping them there was the fact that Copernicus was destroyed. But no, once the evil is defeated, their souls just instantly go away. So it's obviously still around, but where? And that's what we're waiting around for. While we're waiting around, they went on this train, and let me tell you, this train got attacked by a monster that they thought was the evil. Ooh. And of course, they got to the head of the train, they start seeing claw marks, big holes in the train. It was insane. And then the monster revealed itself. It was a werewolf, and I kind of just thought it was that at first until he gave Emma these eyes, and I'm like, what? Oh, wait a second, it's Winston. I completely forgot Winston was a thing. So seeing him here, and I'm like, it's all coming together. I wanted him to just attack Idrit immediately, because the whole werewolf thing, the stereotype is that the anger controlled them. So I would assume that he would have just went on the fray and attacked Idrit immediately, but he didn't. He's just super out of control. The fact that Winston's back now and the evil did get revealed to us, I'll talk about it later. I am now starting to think that this is gonna be a one and done season. If this series does get multiple seasons, they'll follow multiple people. So if the next couple episodes are really fast paced, we know why. But no more time for thinking, because Merlin has returned. Merlin is now telling them he's found the evil, and it's a man named Otto. Now, if you guys remember Otto, he's the person who's built every machine we've seen so far, even Copernicus. He's the man who had to deal with the Fox Lady and ended up severing the deal with the Fox Lady, and he helped them build Copernicus back. So what's the end game for Otto? Well, from what Merlin says, he goes on this investigation with this tiger guy, I forgot his name, I think it was Rock Sasha. So he goes on this mini adventure with Rock, and he sees that there's one of Otto's things tearing a hole in the ground, taking their resources, killing the planet. And Merlin's like, yes, this is the evil we've been searching for. I know it for a fact that this is the evil. So they go, destroy the thing. Oh no, Otto's humongous Death Star ship thing is up here too. And assumingly they get mollywopped and he has to flee and go tell them, come back, there's an evil here. But there's a lot of stuff being left out here. He quickly went over the story that, you know, they got their asses handed to them. But when we get there, the ship's totally destroyed. It's all rubbish on the ground, so there's clearly a lot of stuff he's leaving out. Why is he leaving all of this out? He is now telling everybody to split up and search for the evil. Dumb idea, guys. Dumb idea. I don't understand Merlin's character. I guess the big thing is like he orchestrated the entire thing. He's against this evil. He's completely on the good side, but for what's in? Why is he so gung-ho about gathering these warriors and protecting the world from evil? He's quote-unquote, as said in the show, the most powerful wizard in all of the cosmos. So why does he need a misfit team of warriors that were randomly gathered to help him in a quest from the evil? So while everybody's split up, Idrit obviously gets paired with Winston, because of course he does. And they have their final squabble, hopefully. I mean, it didn't end, but hopefully. But they can't fight for too long, because apparently the evil is Merlin. Yes, that's right. He has now gathered a hold of Melinda, and it's looking like he's trying to take her powers away from her, but I'm not sure. But it quickly ends after it's revealed to everybody that Merlin's the evil in this era. Now I want to go into the question that, is it Merlin? Is it not Merlin? I want to assume that it's not, because Why has he been on their side for this long only to reveal himself now? Was it planned that the soul thing would screw up this time? If so, why didn't he orchestrate it to screw up sooner? Would it not have benefited him to do it sooner? I want to know the motives for it if it is Merlin, but if it's not Merlin, it's a great idea for the evil to disguise themselves as Merlin, because who would question Merlin? Melinda is definitely not going to question Merlin. That's her father, you know? And nobody else will either, because he's the one who orchestrated this whole thing. Somebody could be right there, Yoshikage Kira-ing this entire thing. For the JoJo's fans, you know what I'm talking about. And we wouldn't know. They wouldn't know until this reveal, until he's now there trying to take Melinda's powers away from her. I'm back on the train, you know? I'm back on the train with this. I was getting off the train a little bit, you know, this last couple episodes, they were just kind of going with the flow, you know. I've been mentioning that a little bit, the whole Fitz Copernicus saga, which took 3 episodes for the entire thing, and it all just felt kind of, you know, going with the flow, kind of generic-y in a sense. But this episode kind of got me back on board towards the end, so I'm really excited for the next 2 episodes to see where are these characters going. Where's Melinda's character going specifically, because once they defeat her father, that's going to be another traumatic experience for her, because she's already had to watch her mother die due to her powers. So you know, then Emma, she's been through a lot of stuff. Once Melinda leaves, how will her character change by the end of this episode in comparison to the first one? Winston, he's gonna be stuck as a werewolf forever. They stated it in here, you know what I mean? Unless he finds a cure, how is his relationship with Emma gonna change? Is it gonna change? Is he gonna be too afraid now to go to Emma after the whole, you know, soul thing leaves her body? Idris now officially exiled, so he has nowhere else to go. He has to get with Melinda also, right? Right? I have so much things to think about. Song and Copernicus are just goofballs. Love those guys. They can do whatever they want. I don't want their characters to develop. I love them the way they are, especially Song. Song is great. If Alfie comes back on the last episode, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, we completely forgot you were a thing. Especially that magician that they took over for Idrid. Oh yeah, completely forgot who you were and what you were, because you don't matter specifically. The soul character does. The only one that matters specifically is Emma. She's the only one that matters. Nobody else's life matters. So I've now seen episode 9 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and oh my god, Merlin isn't evil actually. He was being possessed by the evil. What a surprise. This episode was wild. I really do expect them to defeat the evil in episode 10, but again, I'm not sure. This episode I call the Cosmic Showdown because it is a cosmic showdown. I say this because the evil exits out of Merlin and directly into Song's eyes, directly into the cosmic realm. It has taken over the cosmic realm, and when everybody else gets transported into his eyes, it skipped forward 20 years later, not for them, but for Song. The evil has been in the cosmic realm for 20 years. It has taken over almost everything except for Song, the lion he's riding, and Rakshasa. That's literally it. They're the only people that have been fighting this evil for 20 years who has grown more powerful by the day. So what can they do? Honestly speaking, I'm not sure. I do think this is the most powerful the evil has been. We do get some backstory of how it was back in the day when Idris first joined. Melinda and Merlin's fight with the evil end up going into Idris' realm, and he ended up helping out because they were in his territory. And Merlin's like, oh boy, we got to get that lad on our team, bruv. We do. So they did, and he joins, and I think it looked like Melinda had a soft spot for him. I wonder if that translates into anything. Oh, now he looks sad because it brings us back to the present time. And when you look at that, Mema is petting Winston and not hanging out with Idrid. I think this is the first time in the entire series, besides when we went to his realm a couple episodes ago, where I feel sad for Idrid. You know, this is somebody he's dropped everything for to go be with and help protect the evil with, and she just she does remember, but she also has Emma's memories, but she doesn't hang out with Idrid, like, at all. We know she remembers because she kind of says she does in this episode. She says she has both memories of Emma and Melinda, but she feels like somebody new. That's why I keep calling her Memma. It should catch on. It should catch on. Most definitely, Memma should catch on. But they have no time to lollygag, no time to think or reminisce about the past, because now it's time to fight the evil. The evil has found them, it's taken over a bunch of shadow walkers, but that's not its true form, because its true form is, I don't know, it looks like a giant galaxy or something. I'm not sure. It's just really big and looks like a messy tornado like Galactus did in one of those Fantastic Four movies. But that's not stopping anybody from trying to fight it. Everybody feels kind of motivated. Everybody feels rejoiced. You know, hey, for Idrid, at least he doesn't have to think about Emma Melinda flirting or doing whatever with Winston. He doesn't think about that. They all just have to think about action. And that's what they do. But, oh, Melinda's been caught again. Oh, she has now been separated from Emma. And they both get sent in some different directions. I can't remember if Melinda got sent to the portal, but most definitely Emma got sent in the portal and back to her home. She is home now. Oh, Melinda got put back into Copernicus. That's what happened. What does this mean for episode 10? What does this mean for the battle? Is the battle gonna like cut to more years later where like everybody's almost dead, but oh no, Memma comes back and they combine again and the new world is set peacefully? Or is it gonna be a sad ending and they're gonna have to redo this whole Eternal thing again and they're gonna have to re-enter new bodies years later? Is it gonna be something like that? Is it gonna tease a season 2? And that is possible. That is possible. I'm genuinely curious how this is gonna end because I have no idea. How is Emma gonna come back? How are they gonna defeat the evil without their most powerful asset being Melinda? Merlin can't do it on his own. Idrid, I don't think can do it on his own this time. I don't think he has anything to pierce with his sword this time because it just looks like a big blob in the sky, or just like the sky itself is the evil. I'm not sure. But this doesn't look like it's going to be good for everybody. Even Merlin and Roxasha said that this looks like a bad ending, guys. Haha, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know. At this point, the only thing I can possibly see is them having to restart and enter new bodies later on, years later. But I'm not sure. I don't even think it's possible for Song to be able to do that now because the evil's in the cosmic realm. So what does that mean for them? I don't know. So yeah, that was episode 10 of Unicorn Warriors Eternal. And you know what? I'm kind of pissed at how it ended. I liked it, don't get me wrong. This is a really good episode. It's a great episode of how Emma remembers everything, used all of her resources to get back to the cosmic realm. Her parents tried to stop her, tried to take her to the crazy doctors. The doctors sent his big bodyguards after her, but she was too nimble. She escaped. We heard some cool Stranger Things music while she was escaping. And once you know it, the two people that was able to help her were the people that thought they were going to be chosen for this adventure, but they weren't, and they surprisingly weren't pissed about it. I'm shocked, at least. So they helped Emma go back to the cosmic realm by traveling to Elwo's place, Edred's home place, and using a heart. And kind of like I thought it was going to happen. It's been a couple years since she left. It's been 4 years to be exact. And the evil has taken over everything. Has taken over time, has taken over space. The heroes are just surviving at this point, are hiding from said evil. Before we get to the plan they decided upon to stop the evil, I want to talk about Emma for a second because I didn't earlier. Emma's grown a lot since episode 1, and kind of shocking that she's super down to get back. Kind of shocking that she's super down to risk it all, considering from like episodes 2 and 3 she was kind of against the whole Warriors team. She didn't ask for this, she didn't want to do this, but it was forced upon her. But from helping out Melinda with her emotions and stuff, she somehow gained a friendship with her, and now she doesn't want to leave them. She understands the risk now, she understands the trouble that's going on throughout this season, and she wants to stop the evil. Also, I think it's fair at this point that she should go back because she did drag Winston into this. Winston didn't have to be into this, but you know, I don't want to say she forced Winston because Winston did it on his own, but it's because of her that Winston's in this situation. So she also has an obligation to go back because Winston's quote unquote, I guess, one of the heroes now. So the plan is simple. The plan is to combine everybody together into Emma so that she becomes this all-powerful being to stop the evil, and that they did. And this was a cool little format, a wolf head, and it had all the cool colors to it. I really liked it. And they were mollywopping this evil left and right. And when you just thought they were going to destroy the evil and it was going to be a lackluster ending,
Help me! Help me!
you heard the mother. You heard Morgan. She called out for Melinda, so Melinda obviously goes after her, and it turns out she's still alive. I thought it was going to be a trick and the evil was just goading her in, but no, she's still alive. She's basically the heart of this evil. But before they could yank her out successfully, they got sent to a new land, and this land is wild and wacky because the evil controls time and space now. So this land, volcanoes erupting, dinosaurs roaming about, airplanes with lasers shooting at the dinosaurs and stuff. This is a mixture of the past and the future, and I guess technically the present as well. So the evil has changed everything, the entire world, and that's where we're left off at the end of season 1. So the reason I'm kind of pissed off about it is because I like a season to have a conclusion at the end. You know, it's fine for the overarching series story to continue onwards, but I do like a season to have a conclusion, so I can feel like me watching this season from start to finish was worth it. But I don't know if it was, because like, what if it doesn't get a season 2? God, I hope this gets a season 2. I hope season 2 is greenlit. But if this doesn't get a season 2, I'm gonna feel like I wasted my time watching this, you know? It has great characters. It has a decent story, and that makes for a great show. But if this show doesn't continue and it stops halfway through the story, what was the point? We just started getting some development for Idrid, so I hope that continues in season 2 and it starts fleshing out more people, because right now Emma, Winston, and sort of Idrid are the only 3 that matter at this point. But we need some stuff for Song, especially since he's an adult now. We need some more story for Song and how he's changed in over the 20 years that it took for them to get to the cosmic realm. I kind of want to know what's up with Merlin as well. I want some stuff for him, maybe an episode delving into his past and, you know, how he got his magic. That'd be cool. How he got with Morgan, you know, his relationship with Morgan, because I don't know, I'm just really curious. But again, if this doesn't get a season 2, all of these questions are pointless. I really want this to get a season 2. I really want to see how they defeat said evil, because how did they end without defeating the evil? I have no idea, but they did. They did it. They ended it without defeating the evil. Maybe this isn't even the last episode. I think it is, though. I really do think it is. I don't know what to say past this point, so I'm just gonna end it here. With that being said, what are your opinions on Unicorn Warriors Eternal episode 10? Leave them in the comments down below, and I'll get back to those as soon as I can. What's next for Unicorn Warriors Eternal? Is there gonna be an episode 11? Is it gonna go to like episode 13, 14, 15? Or is it just gonna end here? I have no idea, and if it doesn't here, is there going to be a season 2? Just let's have all the discussions right now, and yeah, I'll see you guys around next time. Goodbye.